World War II was a series of famous operations, all storied puzzle pieces making up the grander picture of the war. Some missions were successful, some failed, some never saw the light of day. Some contained some of the craziest things you'll ever hear. Welcome to Bizarre History. Today we look at Operation Tracer, the craziest mission of World War II. The Rock of Gibraltar for centuries had prestige going back some centuries. Regarded as one of the marking pillars of the passage between the Atlantic and Mediterranean Oceans, its prominence left it a figure of contention in many wars. It was taken under British control back in 1713 and developed as a structural point of the British world-spanning empire. The Rock of Gibraltar became vital to British colonies and their access through the Suez Canal and into regions of Asia. Over time, Gibraltar was an important naval port for the British Navy. It caught the attention of the German invasion of Europe following the fall of France. The tactical assumption being made was that invading Britain could be avoided if its most important naval ports were seized. A tactical plan to invade Spain, North Africa, and the Suez Canal was presented to Hitler by his high commanders, including Hermann Goering. Operation Felix was born as an effort to cut Britain off from the rest of its empire. However, the seizure of Gibraltar into German control meant the cooperation of Spain. In October 1940, Hitler met with General Franco, holding the offer to take Gibraltar and give its ownership to Spain. Franco resisted and was wary of Spain entering the war. It's also believed Hitler took offense to Franco stating doubts that the British would be beaten on home turf. It's understood, thanks to Franco's reluctance to include and instigate Spain's presence in the war, Operation Felix never went ahead. On a more optimistic note, it also ensured Hitler and the dictator Franco never made allegiance. So appalled was Hitler, he informed Mussolini he would rather have teeth pulled than meet the man again. In a time of sensitive information, spies, and espionage holding the fate of the world, British intelligence soon caught word of a plan to seize Gibraltar. In response, the British began making preparations to protect Gibraltar should it fall to the Axis powers. The plan was radical and started in the most secret of conditions. Rear Admiral Godfrey, the director of Naval Intelligence Division, hatched the idea that a secret operational post could be made on Gibraltar in the event of the enemy taking control. The plan was off the record, top secret. Not a single meeting on Operation Tracer took place at Whitehall. All planning took place at Admiral Godfrey's private residence in Mayfair, London. Quite amazingly, amidst a time of legitimate espionage, a clear connection with fiction can be made. Admiral Godfrey's personal assistant at the time was none other than Ian Fleming, famous author of the James Bond novels. So maybe this is where he got all those ideas about underground lairs from. The elaborate plan needed the most remarkable logistics. An operational post that the British could control even if the island had been seized by the Nazis had huge requirements. It needed an extensive tunnel that could be built within the rocks that the Germans would never know about. But this was just the start. Those assigned to build the tunnels were not told of their purposes. As soon as they had finished the works, those who dug the tunnels were sent home. The tunnels in question became more of a cave for all its requirements as an intelligence post. Inside was the main room, designed for personnel to sleep and store any equipment and provisions. All the flooring was cork tiles, and the plastering of the walls was mixed with horse dung for soundproofing. 2 toilets, a radio room, a ventilation shaft, and a 10,000-gallon water tank were also necessary. This chamber measured 45 by 16 by 8 feet when constructed and completed in 1942. The only view of the outside world it contained were two narrow slits for lookout points to the west and east. A retractable aerial was usable to transmit messages. Its transmitter was run by a bicycle-powered generator. So how was the secret station run? By 6 people selected and prepared to do their shift. However, their shift in question was no small task. This was designed to be a stay-behind cave, meaning whoever was stationed there was prepared to stay till their death. What would be their workplace and quarters would also be their prison and sarcophagus. Yet 6 individuals from Gibraltar were chosen for this special operation, and they had supplies for 7 years ahead of them. They had volunteered to be sealed inside should the Germans take control of Gibraltar. The construction of the site began in late 1941 and was completed by the end of the summer of 1942. In May of that year, the provisions for the operation was made by the Admiralty. The team to work in the chamber for Tracer was ready in Gibraltar come August 1942. The sensitive nature of their task meant each member of the operation had been assigned by a faux job to cover their presence on the rock. Remarkably, a manual for the operation and those inside the chamber had been made and printed. Yet time moved on, as did the turns and machinations of war. Come May the following year, the Axis powers in North Africa had been forced back, and the Allied armies had retaken the terrain. Most significantly for Operation Tracer, come August, the Allies had driven the Germans out of Sicily. As a result, the threat of a German presence in Gibraltar was essentially ended. In late August, Admiral Godfrey sent one last message ordering the blocking up of the chambers and the handing out of any provisions stored in the completed chamber. The 6 volunteers, ready to give their lives should circumstances need it, were called back from deployment at Gibraltar. The extent of Operation Tracer was one of the last secrets to be revealed about World War II. It was revealed by the Gibraltar Caving Group in late 1997. The cave explorers realized a draft coming from around a rock face during an expedition in Christmas of 1997. They dug and found a brick wall, which they broke through. This, in turn, led to the very opening of the secret chamber. Remnants of the post remained as outlined by its architects: the cork flooring, an out-of-commission bicycle, and the retractable aerial. It's understood this discovery was not confirmed as the official site for Operation Tracer for another decade. A 2013 broadcast of Operation Tracer Stay Behind Cave, a documentary dedicated to the site, was the first official world broadcast of the site and its history. Until then, the secret tunnelways in the Rock of Gibraltar had mainly been put down to legend and folklore. In November 2006, a pair of Gibraltar Regiment researchers were able to find and interview one of the original tracers assigned to the fated chamber. The interviewee was able to detail his recruitment for the operation along with a friend's recruitment. It also went into detail on the cover they had of faux jobs and assignments. Most fascinatingly, rehearsals they were put through to prepare. The retired Surgeon Lieutenant Commander Bruce Cooper was the first to admit his memory of the exact details and layout of the chamber had faded with time. Memory was not entirely amiss, though, as he could recall the giant water tank and the hard work of having to continuously pedal a bicycle to work the generator. Approximately 2 years later, in 2008, as the last living participant in the nearly executed operation, Bruce Cooper was able to return to Gibraltar with his family. Cooper stayed at the Rock Hotel, the very place he stayed when he arrived at Gibraltar for his secret mission all those decades ago. He was able to visit the Stay Behind cave found in late 1997. Cooper himself confirmed that the discovery was the very place designed for Operation Tracer. Yet the visit and ceremony of Cooper and his reuniting with the famous secret chamber raised the prospect of further secrets. Information gleaned by the researchers gave a strong impression that there were other tracers in Gibraltar. It's believed there were in fact as many as 2 other teams being prepared in Gibraltar. Alongside this was a fascinating drawing of different chambers in Gibraltar discovered by an MI6 affiliate. To accompany this idea of unknown unknowns, it's since been declared by former telegraphists that tracer units were in use for the British during the Suez Crisis. If you'd like more history, secret hideouts, operations, and stations, hit subscribe, like, and ring that notification bell. Thanks for watching Bizarre History. See you next time.